It's all covered in today's China Truths.
I can guarantee that 70% of the people in Shanghai can't afford their wages. You may not believe it when I tell you this. Now, the larger companies are all thinking about cutting salaries and laying off employees, let alone the smaller companies. Whether they can survive this year is another matter. Look at Shanghai now. The tenants in the major commercial office buildings are eager to change their jobs every month. I deal with bosses from all walks of life every day. Almost every one of them has various online loans and microloans. You can imagine how difficult it is to make a living in the real world now. However, which boss is willing to get himself heavily in debt and have to borrow from Peter to pay Paul every day just to keep the company alive? I dare not imagine it. If even the bosses are having such a miserable life, how can the employees be any better off? What happened to physical stores? Are we really going to starve everyone to death? Quick haircuts on the roadside are really everywhere. Have you ever seen one a few years ago? Anyway, I haven't tried it. Even in first-tier cities like Shanghai, the 15 yuan quick haircut model is everywhere. Before 7 p.m., the once bustling Life Square is empty, and you can't hit a single person with a stick. Whether it's a hair salon, a home visit shop, a clothing store, or a department store, there are basically very few people. What's going on? Compared with the previous few years, it is a completely different picture. As the Sino-US trade war escalates sharply, the Chinese economy is entering a deep cooling that is silent on the surface but shocking in reality. Shanghai, China's largest and most prosperous city, was once full of business districts, crowded with people and extremely bustling. It was an international metropolis that people yearned for, and it also had the highest pension in the country, which was coveted. Today, this economic beacon known as the Pearl of the East and the Paris of the East is like a leaky ship carrying the dreams of millions of people slowly sinking into the abyss. Today, we are going to talk about the story of Shanghai Thing. I arrived at Shanghai Hongqiao Station today and found that all the non-local people in Shanghai seem to have run away. There are not many people at Hongqiao Station. This is the situation at Shanghai Hongqiao Station at 7 o'clock. If it was Friday last year, it would be really crowded with people. Today is Friday and there are basically no people here. It is bustling. Moreover, when I came here, the road was very smooth and there was no traffic jam. Where have all the people in Shanghai gone? Once you enter Hongqiao Station, it is also bustling with people. It seems like it can't even catch up with normal times. There are really fewer people in Shanghai. When will Shanghai's economy get better? How bad has the current living environment become? Do you know? A video to make you face the reality. You must have heard of Shanghai Lujiazui, right? It is right at the foot of the Oriental Pearl Tower, and next door is Tongfu Yipin. Then you see the C position here. Most of the shopping malls are closed. Not only here, you also know Xintiandi, which is also home to top-notch luxury homes that cost 300,000 yuan per square meter. Even the first-tier shopping malls across the road are closed. Even our richest people have seen a decline in consumption. This is Shanghai, the most developed city in China and even in Asia. I wonder what the situation is like in your second and third-tier cities, or even county towns. Post it in the comments section and see, it should be even more horrific. You wouldn't believe it, but in Shanghai, the most miserable people aren't the street sweepers or factory workers. They're the ones who look wealthy. I've lived here over a decade and worked with banks for 8 years. Every day I see customers in suits, driving luxury cars, living in million-yuan homes, yet they worry over gas money and scramble to pay debts. They carry millions in loans, with tens of thousands in monthly interest. Their biggest wish? To live like ordinary people, with no pressure. Have you noticed how empty Shanghai feels this year? After the new year, it should be crowded, but many homes can't be rented out, and the streets are quiet. Popular jobs now are Didi drivers and food delivery, but the pay is low. Earning 4,000 yuan a month, how much is left after rent and bills? Is there still hope in Shanghai? While drinking tea with a colleague in loans, he asked if I'd noticed how few people are left in Shanghai. Homes sit vacant, roads are smooth, shops and restaurants are empty. Even vendors at the wet market say business is dead. Shanghai is said to have 24 million people. So where did everyone go? Back to their hometowns after business failures? Left for better jobs elsewhere? No one seems to know. Shanghai's most desperate group is emerging, those who can't pay their mortgages. Some sold their homes and still owe hundreds of thousands. Wage cuts and layoffs are hitting hard. I sell houses in Pujiang, Minhang. Lately, many insolvent landlords are rushing to sell. They bought at peak prices with high-interest loans, expecting gains, but now prices keep falling. Selling means huge losses. Not selling means default. It's a vicious cycle. As the US-China tariff war intensifies under CCP retaliation, state media keep boasting about China's massive domestic demand. But reality says otherwise. In March, consumer goods sales dropped nearly 10% in Beijing and 14.1% in Shanghai, China's richest cities. The domestic demand trump card isn't holding up. These data came after the CCP launched stimulus policies. Shanghai and Beijing both introduced action plans in March to boost consumption, but the outcome shows these efforts failed. Many netizens say Shanghai is now deeply affected by the consumption downgrade. No wonder people say the environment is bad this year. Let me show you Shanghai's current prices. 2 Lee bags, 2 Skechers, a Tanto, and a pair of Vans. All 6 items cost just 341.8 yuan. I even got Skechers for 70. The consumption downgrade is real. Tonight past 7 p.m. I walked around Guangming Street. It was nearly empty. The saying, "It's harder to keep a shop than be a widow," truly fits. No people, no business. How can anyone survive like this? This year, many non-locals have left Shanghai. Good apartments that once had people scrambling to rent them now sit empty, no matter how cheap the price. It's a pity to see such places vacant. Suddenly, it feels like the whole city is trying to sell. Friends no longer ask where you bought your house, but whether you've listed it and how much the price has dropped. Owning a home has become a joke. Secondhand listings in Shanghai hit 220,000. There are pictures to prove it. Thousands more appear daily. Old houses within the inner ring are slashed by millions but still get no interest. Outside the outer ring, even new homes with discounts and free parking can't sell. Shanghai's economy has collapsed. Countless young people are unemployed, burdened with debt, and families face bankruptcy in this economic winter. A netizen shared his story on overseas media. He was born in Minhang District, from a working-class family. He used to be a marketing manager in Lujiazui. A decade ago, he looked out from a high-rise in Pudong, dreaming of a bright future in Shanghai, changing homes, starting a family, living decently. Today, he stands on a cold street, staring at the deserted Nanjing Road, shuttered RT Mart, and locked shops, his heart filled with chill. Shanghai is terrifying now. Over 70% of physical stores have shut down. That means out of 100 stores on a street last year, only 30 remain, and even those are barely holding on. A customer of mine who runs a clothing store said it clearly. After warmly serving customers, they just buy the same thing online. He used to own 20 clothing shops in Shanghai. Now only one remains, on Nanjing Road Pedestrian Street. It's hard to imagine. When physical stores disappear, so does the city's spirit. If you come to shop in Shanghai and see nothing but closed shutters, what would it look like? Honestly, Shanghai's economy feels worse than that of third-tier cities this year. I work as a business license agent, so I'm sensitive to customer flow. A colleague at a financial company asked if I noticed fewer people around. He's right. Streets are empty, malls are deserted, and even the vegetable vendor said the same. People are just gone. I can't figure out where they went. Migrant workers are vanishing from Shanghai, and even locals are tightening their belts. Wealthy business investors are buried in debt and in pain. This isn't just Shanghai. It's happening in first-tier cities across China. A man from Guangdong hasn't found a job in over 15 days. This isn't a rumor. It's real. Watch this video. He's been searching for over 10 days and still nothing. With the escalating trade war, many foreign companies face heavy export taxes. Orders are down, demand is weak. Where can jobs come from? I walked around our fourth-tier city recently. By 9 a.m., the building materials market was deserted. On the busiest main street, brand stores had mostly shut down. Restaurants, markets, malls, and housing offices were all empty. Even banks shouting promotions drew no one. The industries tied to daily life are collapsing, and the suffering of ordinary people will be etched into 2025's history. China's top 3 airlines lost 3.7 billion yuan in Q1, and airports are deserted. China's 3 major state-owned airlines suffered a staggering collective loss of over 3.7 billion RMB in the first quarter of this year. Just one day after the release of their dismal performance reports, airline stocks plummeted on the Hong Kong stock market. A series of recent videos circulating online reveal a bleak reality. Many large international airports in cities like Shanghai, Pudong are eerily empty, with terminals resembling ghost towns. On the evening of April 29th local time, Air China, China Eastern Airlines, and China Southern Airlines released their first quarter reports, confirming that all 3 remain mired in deep financial trouble. Air China's Q1 2025 revenue dipped 0.11% to 40.023 billion, while net losses surged 22.07% to 2.044 billion RMB, and operating cash flow fell 11.33%. China Eastern saw a slight 0.65% revenue rise to 33.406 billion RMB, but its losses widened 23.91% to 995 million RMB. China Southern's revenue dropped 2.68% to 43.407 billion RMB, with profits turning into a 747 million RMB loss. The report attributed the nosedive in performance to a range of factors, including a shift in passenger composition, high-speed rail competition, global supply chain stress, and the depreciation of the RMB. On April 30th, the day following the release, the Hong Kong stock market sagged under the weight of the airline sector's bleak outlook, despite a mild rise in broader indexes. By market close, Air China 00753.HK had dropped 3.34% to 4.63 Hong Kong dollars. China Eastern Airlines 00670.HK fell 0.81% to HK to 2.29, and China Southern Airlines 00670.HK slipped 1.235% to HK to 6 dollars. A report from Huatai Securities bluntly stated that earnings for China's 3 major airlines showed no signs of recovery, exerting further drag on the sector's year-on-year performance. The impact of retaliatory tariffs remains uncertain, but there is concern that the cost of importing aircraft and aviation materials could soar. In recent years, China's sluggish economy has choked domestic consumption, slashed travel demand, and driven down transportation costs. Meanwhile, international tourist and business travel to China has plunged, dragging down the passenger load on international routes. The country's aviation industry remains trapped in prolonged stagnation, with the 3 state-owned giants bleeding losses for 5 consecutive years. Since 2024, a fresh wave of flight suspensions has swept across China's international routes. Numerous foreign airlines, including Virgin Atlantic, Royal Brunei Airlines, Qantas, Elot Polish Airlines, and Scandinavian Airlines, have pulled out, suspending or indefinitely canceling their flights to China. Recently, a flood of videos uploaded online shows a chilling reality across China's major airports: Shanghai Hongqiao, Shanghai Pudong, Beijing Capital, Xi'an Xianyang, and Dalian Zhuxuizi, among others, where passenger traffic has all but vanished. Terminals are desolate both inside and out, with most outbound duty-free shops shuttered. The once bustling airports now echo like deserted cities. Netizens behind the videos voiced shock and dismay, declaring the decline of China's aviation sector as both alarming and deeply unsettling.